rose ceremony, the fantasy suites, holy matrimony. Oh, won't you please take this rose? Hi, everyone, and welcome to Buns and Roses, my Bachelor recap podcast. I'm Snax the Bunny, and we are here to break down the Week 6 episode of Matt James's season of The Bachelor. How excited are we to do that tonight? Woo!
Oh, that was very excited.
It's really exciting, yeah.
I didn't catch that setup. I am very excited.
Very.
Just split it in there like butter. So we might have one more person joining us, but for now I'm going to introduce you to the folks that are here. First off, we have Sam Kieffer. Hi, Sam.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Snax. Thank you guys for having me.
Great seeing you.
Great seeing you, too.
Oh, thank you. Sam is an LA-based performer who has made 1 million podcasts for Earwolf. It's true. Sam, I feel like every time I listen to a show, it seems like you've worked on it, and it's pretty spectacular. You work on my favorite show, Attitudes. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
What? Sam, what is your Bachelor journey?
This is my first go-around. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I am so happy to be here and talk about this. Everything that you guys... I have so many comments and questions today about just like the mechanics and structures and things of it. This is my first Bachelor of any kind ever.
I love that. For us. That's great.
Mm-hmm. I would like to open with, I owe it an apology. I love reality TV, but I have always geared towards, I need immediate upfront trash. I need a Vanderpump Rules or a 90 Day Fiance. I need chaos up front. And the idea of people genuinely finding their soulmate didn't scratch that itch. It wasn't junky enough for me. And I underestimate it. This is wild trash, and I'm really happy to be here.
That is so funny because Rachael, who will be joining us shortly, that was her number one hesitation with The Bachelor as well. She said, I didn't think it would be trashy enough.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I feel that deeply.
Oh, yeah. And so I'm just going to go ahead and introduce Sara and Matt. Hi, guys.
Hello. We're so happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Snax.
Yeah.
Sara Coates is an actor in Los Angeles. She once auditioned to be an improviser on Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelorette. Oh, my God. She is a French bulldog enthusiast and lover of snacks and snacks. Oh, my God. Sara, I really want to know about that audition process. What was that about?
First of all, I didn't get it. Which feels great. They didn't do the scene actually, but I did get to Zoom. This was before pre-pandemic. I did get to Zoom and improvise with a producer of The Bachelorette who was the most terrifying person I've ever met.
Oh my God, tell me everything.
To do bits. So the scene was she was going to bring the guys in and I was going to be an animal handler. And I was going to then hit on the men with the animals. So I had to, say like, do you want to hold my snake? And like bring a snake up and then like do bits. But then I also had to know about football, which was weird. So like those were like, the audition specs. So I don't know anything about sports. So I am originally from Seattle. And so I just brought up like the Seahawks and then was like talking about Hawks and then just doing bits. And then when the audition was over, she stared at me and she said, would you ever audition for the show? And I was like, no. I was like, no.
Oh my God.
No. Yes, I will. Will I get paid? No, I didn't say that. But
I've always wanted to be one of those extra people, like the improviser that comes in, or like the weird extra, the person who's the masseuse.
And I was upset I didn't get to go to the mansion.
Yeah.
Because that's where I really wanted to go. I wanted to see that creepy mansion that they were in forever that I think might have burned down.
Oh God.
No. Fires.
Really? Did it? Oh my God.
It was, maybe it didn't. Do not listen to me, but I heard that it was like threatened for burning down. But on that note, yeah, I didn't get it and I'm really upset about it, but I feel like I did a good job. So
I am too, because I would have loved to have seen you on Bachelor Nation. I think that would have been a real joy. I'm going to let Rachael into the room right now.
Yeah.
unmute yourself.
Unmuted.
Unmuted.
I respect a woman who's calling from her car to podcast about The Bachelor.
I know it's unsafe, but I hope you're driving. Just for, I hope you're doing multiple.
I am driving. Actually, this is a 16-wheel truck.
Right.
I'm, just a mighty convoy here, trying to deliver the maximum goods.
Well, it's working for me. I love this.
Really working for me as well.
Are you safe? Is everything okay, Rachel?
Yes, I'm safe. My boyfriend will be driving as we have this conversation.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
So there will be motion. That's exciting.
Yes. The Bachelor on wheels.
I love that. I love that.
Can he honk? Honk, honk.
Oh, he's got a honk.
Where's
You're on
Steve?
the train, right?
Wait, he's not in here right now at this
Okay.
moment. But he soon will be.
Okay. Well, we'll have to say hi to Steve when he gets in the car. All right.
Yes.
And, okay, so I was just about to introduce Matt right now.
Hello.
So Matt is Sarah's +1. He is an advertising executive, as they say on The Bachelor, in LA and loves The Bachelor. Bachelor in Paradise is his favorite spinoff. Oh my God. Well, Matt, did you get to watch Listen to Your Heart, the musical spinoff?
The musical spin-off of Bachelor in Paradise? No, I haven't
Of
seen that
Bachelor.
one, although it sounds like that might leapfrog BIP if I did see it.
We
So
didn't watch it. I think we were in a Bravo spiral and we're just hitting those shows really hard. But I remember Listen to Your Heart. And I think, when you watch a show and you're embarrassed,
Yes.
I think I saw the trailer and I was like, I'm too embarrassed.
It's
like,
so
when you're
it's so- but
performing.
Oh my God, it's so cheesy. But it's like, it was early pandemic. It was like the first thing I watched in pandemic because it had just been released and everybody was like, well, I guess we might as well watch this because we're all stuck at home. And it was just, it was the cheesiest thing ever, but so delightful. If you want to combine The Bachelor with just some really saccharine musical numbers, I really highly recommend this 6-episode series.
Sold.
Yeah.
I'm watching it the moment this podcast ends.
Awesome. All right. And then finally, we have returning guest Rachael F. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for allowing me to be in this sacred space again. I appreciate this so much.
I am just so happy to have you back. Rachael F. is a playwright, performance artist from LA, and one part of the disco space funk duo Pink Lotion with Eric Blood. Pink Lotion is your favorite new band. Get it, download it, groove to it. It's the best. Rachael is my Bachelor buddy. We exchange messages all the time, and it's just a delight. And I found that every week since week 1, I wanted Rachael on the panel. So I'm so happy to have you back.
Thank you. I appreciate this. I literally believe that this season is one of the best seasons, even though it's my first season ever watching The Bachelor.
Rachel, you missed it. Sam had the same hesitations about The Bachelor that you did initially, where he worried that it wouldn't be trashy enough. And so,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The idea of two people meeting and falling in love seems awful to me.
Yes, agreed.
So for 25 years, I've resisted it.
I was talking to a friend earlier this week how a lot of these women who were there were probably around the age of either just being born or 5 when this came out, when The Bachelor first came out, because it came out in 2002.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, you're right.
oh my God, that's so gross.
And has
Chris Harrison is like Santa Claus for them.
and
Yes,
he's been around the whole time?
Yes,
the whole
Yes.
time.
I think
Physically, he's changed very little.
When you are
Okay.
eliminated from The Bachelor, Chris Harrison then drinks your blood like a vampire.
Adrenochrome. Got it. Is Chris Harrison, he's Q, right?
yes,
Great. That makes sense.
yeah.
I
so
would like
excited.
that rumor to spread as fast as possible. If I can be responsible for that, whoever tweet that as soon as you can.
There's a lot of, Bachelor rumor mill stuff happening right now. A lot of it is pretty, political in nature, and Chris Harrison not shown in the best light this week for some stuff. But I think we should just start throwing out a bunch of really trash random rumors just to mix them up. Mix it up, get it in there. All right, well, let's get into talking about this episode. This is week 6 out of, I don't know, 10, 11 weeks? Who knows? And, we're starting to see, like, the beginning of relationships being taken a little bit more seriously, and sort of the end, the last gasp of all the drama. Hopefully, I think it looks like we might have one more week of drama before it starts becoming a little bit more about the relationships. Before I go through the beat by beat of the episode, I like to go around and just have everyone kind of share overall thoughts of what they thought of this week's show. I'll start with you, Sam.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. Like I said, I wonder if it's all so new to me that everything is so shiny. There's specific things I loved about it. The argument up top, which would have been MJ and Jasenia, I think.
Yep. Uh-huh.
There's something they did. One of my favorite things about living in Los Angeles is where someone exhibits a behavior while saying it. Like they did this thing where they went, she's like, I'm a good, happy person while like gritting and being angry, which is my favorite thing about LA, where people go like, I'm an empath while their fists are clenched and they're swearing and they're like, I'm a fucking empath. And they're like taking their earrings out and moving rings, and that stuff, it thrills me in such a deep, petty, awful way. Like because they don't know. You get to watch a person collapse into themselves. You think you are, and you're not. You're dying. Someone does something awful and like then is like, can you believe what's happening to me? Yeah. Like I does an action and then we're like, everyone's like, well, we're mad at you. And they're like, I will not be bullied, And then, okay, no, this is the part I need your help on. I don't get the impact of Heather showing up. I understand we've thrown a new contestant in. So I'm sure we'll get to that. She's from another. Okay, so that's why. Is she, based on the clip, we love her because she's insane?
I don't know if we love her.
Okay, but we're excited to see her show up because she's going to stir shit up, right?
Yeah. And because it's like, what are you doing, girl? Yeah, we'll get to Heather.
Okay, I also really appreciated the way they brought her in that forced pretend she just showed up. Chris Harrison's voice acting where he goes, who's at the gate? But why? Is one of my favorite. Reminded me of like Broadway, like the way people act if it was like Wicked. They're like, you have a visitor here. And he's like, I do, but how? My last overall takeaway was the guy, Tyler, he was another one.
He's another,
The thing that we did where we're pranking Tyler and then we swap it out with a man and the joke is like, oh, you thought it was a woman and it's a man. I don't want to see that joke anymore. Nope. Retire that joke. Nope. If you're going to do that, I knew it wasn't going to be this, but for about 2 seconds, he was massaging him so well and so beautifully. I was like, oh, fuck, if they start kissing, this, as a bisexual man, do this. Show up back at the house and be like, there's a new girl, Heather and Tyler, and then we're all trying to suck Matt's dick, and it's a free-for-all. This is the show I want to see. But it wasn't that. It was just a simple gay joke that I don't want to see.
I love that idea. I wish that they did that. The only problem with that scenario is if they brought Tyler into that house, 100% of the women would try to get with Tyler.
That's fine. I want that. Bring Chris Harrison in, just blow it up and be like, just relabel, like for the next 5 weeks, these people want to fuck. And then somebody goes to a hometown. But otherwise 10 out of 10 stars.
Great thoughts. Okay, let's go on to Sarah and Matt. Overall thoughts of this episode. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Going in overall, I have the same feeling as when I walk into like a Forever 21. I'm terrified of all the women. I am scared that they're judging me, and I'm scared of their age. I am 10 years older than all of them, and I still want them to like me, even though I'm sitting on my couch and they're on my TV. So they are all so beautiful that I'm shaken by this beauty. Also, I saw a lot of turtleneck work in this episode. Matt always wears a turt. He's always covered up to here, and I'm into it sexually. So that's how I felt about that. And then also I felt kind of just sweeping generalizations. I'm loving the fall Halloween feel of this season. I feel like the other seasons aren't like this. They aren't spooky. There isn't beautiful fog rolling across hills and leaves and green leaves, and also the other generalization is like, who was running the carnival? Ghosts? Like, what was happening at this carnival?
Truly.
Who's working?
Yeah.
And like, why? Okay, you have like Wells there. Why isn't he like he is on Bachelor in Paradise, like running the carnival games? I saw a missed opportunity there to bring in someone who may be an actor that's auditioned before to run the carnival games. Just kidding. That's fine. I have auditioned before and wasn't cast, but that's kind of my general thoughts. I really love the carnival moment. Matt?
I thought the same kind of things as you guys did. Obviously the episode was pretty dominated by like the appearances of Tyler and Heather. I also thought it's sort of funny because every once in a while, I'll be watching The Bachelor and they'll show like a blooper after the episode or something, and you'll get a sense of the real person. Yeah. Like they did a blooper at the end of this one where Matt was doing like a dumb little karate move, and you got a little more. You're like, I feel like I'm seeing real Matt a little more, and it almost feels like the show kind of goes out of its way to not humanize him for some reason.
I know. I
don't
hate
know
that.
Why.
It really bugs me that they save it all for bloopers. It's so weird to me.
Yeah. Or like when Tyler showed up, all of a sudden Matt is like very goofy and laughy, and you're like, I feel like
he's lit up like a Christmas tree.
Up like a Christmas tree when Tyler showed up, for sure. And then I also agreed with Sam about like how clearly staged the Heather appearance was. But what I noticed about it was there's a scene where Bree is sitting there on the couch, and she literally goes, "Yeah, I think it's going to be chill now. They don't want like villains in the house anymore." And then like stopped mid-sentence, and like Heather walked in. I was like, "There's no way that happened organically." But those were my general thoughts.
Also, does Heather is that her van? Is that her
the van? Man, the van has been such a topic of conversation. I think it's so funny how people get. But someone said on, I think it was the Bachelor podcast, that Heather Karen'd her way into the season, and it's the most Karen vehicle because it's this entitled, like, I'm not involved in this season, but I'm a person that my name, and let me just walk onto this set and be a part of this because I want to. And I'm in a minivan. It's such a Karen move. So I loved that. I love how on brand it was for the Karen of it all. If we're still talking about Karens, I don't know if we are.
Beautiful Karen.
Yeah. Rachel, let's get your thoughts about overall episode things before we do the beat by beat.
Yes. Sorry for the extra mood lighting. But basically, 3 words: bring back Victoria.
Bring back Victoria.
I'm sorry, but bring back Victoria. Look, I mean, I know people want to have this romantic deal, but I'm like, you could have that plus the drama. I don't know. I just miss her. And I miss seeing her bra strap show for no apparent reason.
I mean, I agree with you. She had so many amazing moments.
Maybe she'll get a spinoff. It would be amazing. I will watch it. I will bet.
I'll bet we'll see her in Paradise. You know what I mean?
Ooh, if she gets to be on Paradise, I'm following.
Yeah, me too.
Like with a pep in my step. kudos to someone bringing up a bisexual slant to it. I wish that would be a slam dunk on the show, because remember when there was like, I don't know if it was Cambodian Bachelorette, no, Cambodian Bachelor or Vietnamese Bachelor or China Bachelor, one of the three franchises. Two of the girls went AWOL and ran off with each other.
Well, they did that on Bachelor in Paradise. Demi ended up with a woman on the end of one of the Bachelor in Paradise seasons.
That's right, they proposed.
Well, like, why does this only happen every once in a while?
It'd be cool if it was more of a, more of an intentional love story,
And I just, sorry.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify, Rachel, your backdrop now, you're on your way to Nemacolin now.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually am.
Correct.
I'm sorry. I've been lying to you all. Look, here's the deal.
You can just go there
with Matt, and I'm going to fist fight Heather for him.
Are you in a minivan?
It's actually a Honda Element, so very close.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys, let's get into this episode, shall we?
Yes.
Great. So it starts with the cold open of Heather driving up, and it's just we don't really need to deal with it yet, because we'll just deal with it when it gets to it. I'm not sure how I feel about these cold opens. I don't know if they do much for me. But okay, then when we get into the show proper, we're sort of picking things up where we left off with the drama between Jasenia and MJ. This 2-on-1. It didn't go so well for MJ.
We did really like the blazer dress she was wearing.
I loved her outfit, and I loved her.
I thought you should have a segment called "Will You Accept These Clothes?" And then we just say if we like their clothes. Yeah. And I really enjoyed MJ's. And if she had to go out, I mean, that's the way to go out.
Yeah,
in a blazer dress, crunchy, beautiful hair,
in a blazer of glory.
And
blazer of glory.
When she did leave, I did really appreciate. He just walked her to the car and there was no speech, and she turned and he just goes, all right, and just shut the door. Wrap this up. Like there was gonna be an interaction, and she's like, hey, and he's like, no thank you, and just shut the door on her face, which is great.
My favorite moment of this whole part of the show is just MJ in her ITM interview, and she's just like, oh, forgot who I was for a second, and she fluffs up her hair, and she's just like, bitch moment, and she says this stuff like weak bitch moment, big hoops, big hair, big energy, like she talks in hashtags, and you can tell she's trying for something, but that moment of her like get it together, like weak bitch moment, like was so like whoa, but I loved it.
I didn't think she should have. That was a poor choice to admit guilt in any way. Mm-hmm. Like, because that's what cost her. It is a reality show. It is a competition show. She should have gone in there, and Jasenia's like, MJ said this, and then he sits her down and he goes, because he teed her up, he goes, it didn't sound like you. She should have been like, I've never seen these women before in my life.
That's kind of been her strategy.
Never
deny till you die.
Yeah, exactly. She's not going to see this footage for months. You know what I mean? Until you're
married by then.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, who said that? I don't even know who that is. I love your turtleneck. You're so tall. Why would you ever be like, hey, I made a mistake. You fucked up. You're done. Absolutely not.
Just lean in for that open-eyed kiss.
Yeah, just do the exact same thing. Just be like, oh, like Jasenia was like, she said this, and then Matt is like, wait, did you say that? Just be like, not only did I not do that, she hit me. And then just give one out and be like, have fun with that. Be like, yeah, she hit me in the face 3 times, and she knows she did. And then he's like, when? Be like, it's too sensitive to talk about, and then walk away.
You're right. There's not enough like pure just bald-faced lying on the show.
I mean, that is what Victoria brought to the table for sure.
Yes, and she was the best.
Yeah.
And that's why she should have gotten the massage from Tyler, because she was carrying the show on her back.
Yeah. That's
tired. So
as a quick side note, I think she did this too. I really appreciate, there has been multiple waves of people who are like, I'm physically sick, and then they fall down. Is that a normal Bachelor thing, or is that specific to this season?
It seems to be happening a lot this season, but it does happen quite a bit, I think.
Okay.
Let's give you
There's a
good
lot of
bumper
like,
for the ad.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, what I like to do in these occasions is basically blame production. I mean, I know it's kind of like, oh, but maybe they're just faking and whatnot. But I also believe that sometimes production gets really weird about corralling the talent and won't allow them certain like rest periods or eating periods, or over indulges them or not indulge them enough in certain instances.
Abuse.
So I feel, yeah, you know, just
Stockholm syndrome and abuse.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
that.
if you give someone champagne at noon, at 3 p.m., at 6 p.m., like, yeah, I bet you're wobbly as hell.
Yeah, and two grapes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, you mentioned to me like, and this is not about like, this is like when they do the very first episode of each season, that you know, they all come in the limos and then they spend the night, you know, that's basically like an all night shoot.
Oh,
It
they get
is.
done at like 6, 7 in the morning.
So they just pump
And they
them full of alcohol and no sleep.
and the rose ceremony happens first thing in the morning. They haven't slept. It's crazy that first night.
It is
Yeah.
wild.
I think it's and then so MJ leaves, and you know Matt didn't really have to do that much. He sat with Jacinda, he sat with MJ. They had their thing, they figured it out. He sent MJ home, and then he canceled the cocktail party because that was a lot for him. And I thought that was a really, really funny choice.
This was another one I wanted to ask. That's not standard Bachelor procedure, right? That's a little weird to
It's weird, but they do it a lot. They seem to cancel cocktail parties a lot. But yeah, what, Rachel?
Is it okay? I'm always blaming production, but I blame production because like obviously someone needed to be having a break at that moment. They're all like, we're getting paid to shoot from this time to this time, and this extra stuff happened. So
that may be true. Yeah, that may be true. Because, yeah, if they thought that was going to be time where they weren't shooting and all of a sudden there's this extra thing, it's possible. But, I mean, what else are they doing? It's a pandemic and they're in Nemacolin. No, it's just making the women feel that much more deflated before they go into the rose ceremony, which is probably good, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, so they...
Team down.
Yeah, so they go into this rose ceremony. I was very disappointed that Maggie was voted off. She was my favorite. She was the most beautiful creature. And
oh yeah, she was great.
I mean, she was hilarious too. Anytime she was on screen, she was so funny. Ryan was also voted off, and she seemed pretty upset before the rose ceremony, almost like she knew she was going to be voted off. Yeah, and I don't really remember who else was eliminated, but those are the two standouts for me. And then any thoughts about the rose ceremony before I go into the next day?
I do feel like these women during this rose ceremony were very smug. I was telling Matt earlier that I love like the back row when they get a rose coming through to get to the rose, kind of like looking at them like that. Yes, that is always like a really beautiful moment to me. And I feel like these women have eyebrows that really just look just mad all the time. So I felt really, really extra smug.
I think Matt,
excuse me.
I think Matt just said it. You just said it too. There was a point during this episode where in the notepad I keep in my head of like rude phrases and how to talk down to people and like how to be awful, I was like, oh man, I never even thought of a soft excuse me. How incredibly to add that to my list of like, next time someone like butts just a very soft like excuse me at a concert and then excuse me, but then you don't stop. You say a soft excuse me and then barrel excuse me, and then I stand right in front of you.
And if you have a bold eyebrow, it is just painful, but I love to see it. I love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the way that they accept the rose is so fun to watch every time because it's always like, of course. Or always. Or yes.
Has anyone ever gone and like full out, he calls their name and they're just like, booyakasha.
Yeah. Just spreads. Ha!
Suck it, it's mine, bitches.
I wish.
No, it's all whispers. It's all like
always whispers.
Like, thank you, man. Thank you. Okay, so we're on to the next day. Piper, there's a date card, and Piper gets the one-on-one, and that's great. Finally, Piper gets a one-on-one. And but before we see any of that date, we get this random feeling altercation between Serena C and Katie. And I just felt like this was so out of the blue. Basically, the women were upset that they didn't have a cocktail party the night before because of the MJ Jasenia thing, and somehow they decided to pin that on Katie because Katie was the one to inform Matt that the house had some bad energy happening, even though she never named names. This whole altercation, it just went from 0 to 60. And for me, I was like, wait, what? They have a problem with each other? I've been watching every week. I don't know where this came from. What did you guys think about this argument between Serena C and Katie?
I do think Katie's that was a shitty move. It reminded me of, I could see you shaking your head. You're wrong. It reminded me when I was in my early 20s, I was in a relationship and it wasn't going well, and we went to couples counseling, and we went mutually and healthily, but I'm not exaggerating. She went into the building. She got in like 5 minutes before I did while I was parking, and told our therapist, the woman we had just met, several things about, like, she got in there first and was like, hey man, there's some crazy shit happening, and I lost all footing. So it reminded me of that, of like, it was a toxic household. It's also a reality show. So there was nothing more toxic in there than isn't a competition show where 32 delusional people try and marry another delusional person. So to get in there first and be like, they're toxic, puts you in a position where you're a good person and they're bad, even though you just pulled the toxic move. It's not like someone got punched in the face or anything. She just was like, hey, just so you know, they're talking trash. And you're like, yeah, I bet they're saying insane shit.
I mean, I wonder if the conversation would have happened if it wasn't for the fact that Brittany had been, like, accused of being an escort on air, and that seemed to be pretty distressing for her, and I think Katie wanted to shut that down. She, like, in Katie's defense, she never named names to Matt. She just kind of said, generally, you might want to tell people to, like, cool it on that stuff. I don't think that, I mean, but also, like, Katie must have known, too, by, like, being the one who, like, whistle blows. That usually gets you eliminated a few episodes down the road anyway, so it never works out.
I will say this. Hearing you say this, you raised some good points. A lot of what I just said, I might just miss Victoria.
I mean, yeah.
Or Veronica.
Victoria.
Is that Victoria? I might just miss Victoria. Maybe you're right. Maybe I just miss chaos, you know?
Yeah, we all
might
do.
Just be that.
We all do.
Katie doing that puts her in the friend zone too, because you're like a friend coming up to your friend being like, hey, let me tell you about this. It doesn't make her a romantic person. And that's why later on she goes home and they bro out and they have this like great comedic banter and things like that. But that doesn't make you want to have sex with someone when they tell on others.
All right. Snitches don't get roses.
You know what? I understand how people might view that as toxic. Tattletelling in a way, you know, not understanding the full capacity of the situation that you assigned yourself in. As a person who has watched multiple episodes of Flavor of Love and I Love New York, I can tell you, yes, people talk all the smack when it comes to these type of shows, and you should be able to hold your own and have a comeback. But in defense, echoing what Snax, the bunny said, Bunny Vice, is that Katie didn't name any names. She said this multiple times to Serena C's face. She was like, bitch, I didn't name any names. I didn't have a name in my fucking mouth. Why are you in my face? And Serena C didn't really have a good foot to come back on that. All she could say was like, well, you're a hypocrite and you're blah, 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 blah. And she was like, bitch, I didn't say anyone's name. And it wasn't until Matt talked to someone, what was it, Victoria? He talked to Victoria and he was all like, oh, Katie, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to see or hear any of that, but you know how stuff gets around the house. She went back to all the other ladies and was all like, Katie's doing some damn dirty
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Victoria probably started this fire because right before she was eliminated, Matt told her that Katie was the informant. So Victoria must have done some damage to Katie's reputation in the house right before she was eliminated. That's a really good point.
Well, now I want to point out, just because both of you, in a very eloquent, polite way, disagreed with me, I find both Snax and Rachael to be toxic. And we'll like that put on the record.
Look,
immediately.
I don't hide my toxicity. I'm proud of my toxicity. And you know what? I also want to say, just point out really quick, too, that Katie also wasn't just playing a game for the house. I think Katie wanted America to like her. And I think being the person to stand up to bad behavior when nobody else does made her feel like she was showing people what she wanted them to see, which is she's somebody who has principles and integrity. And so even if it didn't help her win the game, her image on this show is how she wants it to be, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I do like how she ended the conversation with Serena. Thank you for your feedback. That's a great way to end an altercation with another person.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
This is when we see actually Heather drive up, is right after this thing between Serena and Katie. Heather drives up in this minivan. They do this puppet show, this weird theater of, it's like she's fully mic'd and,
Yes. And they act like the boom is maybe getting her, but there's no way that boom is getting that clear voice.
It's just so silly when they try to act because it's very transparent.
If you rewatch it, the security guard, he comes out and he's like, I can't let you in. And then he makes the phone call. He is not wearing a mask and then is wearing a mask, which means there's reshoots. Which means they did reshoots of a organic, which is like, it's really top notch.
Yeah. Does he have a direct line? Does the booth at the front have a direct line to Chris Harrison? Like, is there like, is he running the whole compound?
Chris Harrison has to be doing something during all this time, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's hanging out with the booth guy, smoking, hanging.
I have heard that Chris, during the he's in the control room, I guess, all day watching footage and watching the camera. I think that creeps me out so much.
Are we all picturing it like the Truman Show?
Yes.
Where he's up there in the headset, just like,
the beret on.
Yeah.
Well, and if you've seen the show Unreal, it's like the way that their control center is. Rachel.
I'm just very impressed by the quality of that CCTV and that security booth.
Yeah.
If all places had that high definition quality of their closed circuit televisions, all crimes would be solved.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you actually could zoom and enhance if you had those.
So Heather is somebody who, so from what I understand, she was on Colton's season of The Bachelor, which is the same season.
She has great dimples.
This is same season that
incredible dimples.
Hannah Brown was a contestant on, so they met on that show. So she is friends with Hannah Brown. I guess on Heather's, when she was on Colton's season, her thing is that she had never been kissed. And Colton was her first kiss.
Are you picturing like a Catholic scenario where they're like, she's done butt stuff, but no.
A prostitute scenario where you
I don't
kiss on the
know.
mouth because you might fall in love.
Okay.
She had never been kissed, and apparently, I don't know if she has been kissed since or something crazy like that. So this woman does not know how to get action outside The Bachelor, and so this is why she gets into a minivan and drives to Nemacolin and tries to get Matt James to pick her. It's a weird choice. I think it's when she calls Hannah Brown out as somebody who said, "Oh my God, he's perfect for you. You have to go." It's like, that is the worst advice from a friend, and you should not listen to that friend.
That's not a friend.
Yeah. Because like you said, her showing up randomly was pretty clearly staged. If she actually showed up randomly, you're talking sniper dots. You're talking getting tackled. You're talking.
Exactly. It was just like, why are they even trying to fake this? Like, she wouldn't even know where they would be filming. Like, why would this even be allowed? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a very organic, heartfelt, this is the first time I've ever seen this show, and I don't know anything about it. This is bad. Like, I was well aware. This is not good. This is not great. Don't do this.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't do this, Heather. This is bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so from there, we then get to go to Piper's date, her one-on-one with Matt. And I just can't get over this. They, especially after Tayshia's season, where they were stuck at La Quinta and they were making paper cars that they were driving around, the fact that Piper's one-on-one gets its own carnival, I guess I was just the whole time expecting that, okay, maybe at the end of the date, all the women show up and they hang out at the carnival, because that's like a lot to set up just for two people. And that never happened. I'm like, maybe the staff is enjoying the carnival. What did you guys think of the one-on-one with Piper and Matt?
Two specific thoughts. One, I was particularly high when I got to this part of the show, and I remember I made a note. I was crying, like sobbing, laughing. There's something so funny about being in a pandemic when people can't leave their house, and you built a carnival for two people. Like, the amount of waste that goes into that is so incredibly American and funny. To be like, well, where should they go? And they're like, well, what if they built a carnival when carnival workers are like out of work? It really made me laugh. Is a really, really good, awful, awful moment. And then I also had another, because as you guys know, the show's less about these women and this man. It's more of like a personal journey inside yourself. And I did a full gut punchy, shut my mouth. Like, I was watching this and I was like, man, this woman, she's just not very interesting. And there's just not anything I like about her. And she doesn't stand out. And I'm just dogging her in my head. And it cuts to her and she was like, yeah, my parents just never verbally told me they loved me. And I was like, oh, well, that's on you, you piece of shit. Like, you're just judging people. Like, I spent a good solid 10 minutes being like, and this is not interesting. And then she was like, yeah, and I very much struggle with it. And I was like, well, you're a bad person. Those are my takeaways.
I have a constant like horror movie lens that I put on everything in my life and everything I watch. And so when they were driving down that street going into the dark, I was like, what if they hit someone and then they had to hide the body? Like, what if that was the date? And Matt was like, that's not going to happen.
That's a twist I'd like to see, though.
I would like to see that as well. And then she turns on the thing and they get to a carnival. And I'm like, this is terrifying.
Yeah. In the woods, it seemed like.
I would be scared of rides that were just set up that day that maybe haven't been tested by anybody else. Like, that terrifies me.
And they haven't been used in a pandemic. They haven't been used in a year and a half?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
They're not greased up.
I just kept on thinking about how all of those rides are rides you barf on, because all they do is spin you around.
Yeah.
4 rides you get finger banged on.
Classic.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
Remember
goodness.
Fear?
Yeah.
Yes,
Mark Wahlberg in Fear.
I love it.
Wahlberg in Fear.
Can you picture the amount of joy in Matt's mind? Like if you went on a dating show and all you brought was turtlenecks and they were like, we're going to a fall fair. How hard you're like, oh, I'm going to dunk on this with your turtleneck. This is daddy's time to shine.
He's been training his whole life for this turtleneck moment. And then we get, oh my God, everybody. Then we get Temecula Road. Which, okay, so if you've watched previous Bachelor seasons, you know that they have these bands that you're like, who? And one of the ones that they kept bringing back, the name just sticks in your head, is Tennille Arts. Tennille Arts was the other band that they just kept bringing on, and this is Temecula Road. It seems like the sister band of Tennille Arts, and oh my God! I mean, this song. I should just look at the closed captions of. Which, by the way, I always say this every week. If you're not watching the Bachelor episodes with closed captions or subtitles on, you didn't see the Bachelor episode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're not watching it.
No doubt.
There is a dinner in between. Yeah, this is and Sam touched upon what they talked about at dinner. I'm kind of skipping over that because it just didn't interest me that much. But this Temecula Road thing, any thoughts about Temecula Road from you guys?
I don't know. It's just like, I mean, have you been to Temecula?
I have. I've been there. It's just wine country.
And it's also like when you go on Craigslist, it's like where you'll go pick up a turtle. You know, it's where you'll get
or a turtleneck.
Yeah, turtleneck. Yeah. Like it's not like a place that you go. Road. It's a place you pick something up on Craigslist.
I do have a bit of a theory that obviously we all kind of notice it becomes sort of really obvious when they're trying to shove this band down your throat. And I don't think it would strike us all this hard if they didn't keep cutting to Matt being like, oh my God, Temecula Road. I can't believe we got him.
Every season, there's a few random, celebrity cameos or whatever, and you just can see the producers off camera going, no, their name is Temecula Road. And
Temecula Road.
Holding the card up so they can read it.
I will say this. Every couple of months, usually on Twitter, somewhere awful, there will be a debate that happens from ignorant white people that are like, white people have plenty of culture, and other people have to go, no, it's stolen from other countries. That's where we got our stuff. And I am here to say this. White people do have their own culture, and it is Temecula Road. That is purely ours. That was taken from nobody else. That is a Kohl's department store in Iowa. That is the one thing we have that we made.
That is a home goods gather sign.
Yeah.
That is.
I lived, I laughed, and I loved during the whole performance. I can also tell, I got the distinct feeling that, like when you're watching a movie and you go, why is this person in this? Why would Denzel Washington take this role? Why would Kevin Costner take this role? And then you Wikipedia it and you go, oh, someone else had it and they decided not to do it at the last minute. This struck me as one of those, that morning at 8 a.m., their producers were like, oh, Rascal Flatts are sick. Dude, and they're like, yeah, but they go on in 8 hours, and they were like, they're fucking sick. And they were like, I have Temecula Road, and they're like, okay, and just
I like that.
Yeah.
Temecula Road is like, this is our shot, man.
Georgia Florida line, they all have lupus, and they were like, all right.
Did Temecula Road travel from Temecula to Nemacolin and quarantine for 2 weeks, or what? I mean, I hope
they come with the house.
Yeah.
They have to live there.
Yeah. Well, they're producers on the show, and they were just waiting. They were waiting for their moment to spring.
Like, I have a band.
We got a band.
I don't know at which point of the show I want to bring this up, but it's been really striking me that some of the intensity from the contestants. It's like I'm so jealous that they get to go be in a place with a bunch of people and do fun stuff. Like as of right now, I would sign up to be on The Bachelor just to hang out with people because it sounds fun. But I have no interest in, finding love on a reality show. I just kind of want to hang out with people and have it be safe. That sounds great. And I just wonder how many of the people that are like getting voted off, I wonder how much of the emotion and the heartbreak has to do with the fact that they're going back to isolation versus, not being able to be with Matt. I don't know. It was just a thought I had. And then also, I kind of feel like they don't go very far because they have to do the Women Tell All episode soon. So I think all they do is they take them from the main house and then they put them back into those little smaller hotels that they stayed in at the beginng.
And they just get to hang out and watch TV.
They're not going home.
Which is my dream.
And this is why I thought that was kind of a weird thing for Tayshia's season. Because in Tayshia's season, after she had voted several people off, they came back because they're just hanging around. And they have all this time to just think about like what went wrong. And then they just kept getting people to come back. And I'm actually surprised that Matt hasn't gotten anyone coming back yet that he's eliminated because they're right down the street. You know what I mean? Maybe that's going to happen. Maybe we'll see Victoria come back for Psych. I don't know. But like they're all hanging out because they're going to do the Women Tell All. So.
And I believe the producers would like if the drama was just, a little burning
Exciting.
A little bit and they needed something, they would be like, all right, Victoria, here you go.
Yeah.
And I like to think we saw her get in the car, but we didn't see her get to the hotel. I like to think that Victoria made it about 50 yards down, barrel rolled out, and ran like she's in the walls. She can come out.
She's currently painted to look like a bookshelf.
Yeah.
And
she comes out at night and just eats food and then is right back up into the ceiling.
She's like in the House of Mirrors at the carnival. She's like.
Yeah. There's scenes that we don't see where Matt wakes up and he's like, did someone cut my hair? And she's up in this.
I love that theory.
And I like so I'm into it.
She just haunts the house. She's just haunting the Nemacolin Castle, Chateau, whatever.
Yeah, like someone's like, hey, at 3:33 exactly, did you guys hear a very ghoulish "I'm a queen" like waft through?
Or at some point the camera will turn and the boom bite guy will take off his mustache.
And then he puts it back on.
Okay, so we cut to some really cringy quarantine footage of Heather bouncing a pizza box on her head, and she's like, "Wow, look at me, I'm quarantining."
All of that was
As
really
if we're not all doing that.
all of that stuff is tough.
At what state? I mean, we've all done the pizza box thing. Let's face it.
Yeah.
That little clip of like her, like, I'm just a goofball. I hope this analogy lands, but every once in a while they'll take a very attractive person, like a porn star, and then they'll put glasses on and they'll be like, I'm such a gamer.
Oh my
Like
God.
I'm just such a nerd. Like, can you believe what a nerd I am? And you're like, aren't you extremely beautiful?
You.
And they're like, I'm just a nut.
I mean, Sasha Grey has a Twitch account, so
Yeah.
It's
Like in a rom-com when they make Sandy Bullock fall over.
Yeah,
and
she's
you're
like, pizza box on the head. I'm just such a
They're
nut.
so relatable.
I'm just such.
glasses. Then we have a bowling date, and oh my God, I wish I could go bowling right now. I was so jealous.
Me too.
I just want to bowl. It seems like the worst COVID activity ever, but
Everyone's putting their fingers and
sharing balls. All the
That's what she said. She said, ew.
I remember.
there was something.
I remember hating the team names. I think it was like Pink Petals and Blue Bombshells or something
Blue
like
Bombshells,
that.
yeah.
Oh,
Pink petals.
Garbage names.
come on. At least come up with cool names.
Yeah, bowling was the Temecula Road of activities.
Yes.
Where they were like, this costs $80, and they're like, we can vamp. Sure.
I have a question. One team, the blue team had 5 girls and the pink team had 4, and the 4 still won. Were they counting all 5 girls' points, or were they doing 4 on
I think they're
4?
probably just rotating a little more.
I don't get it.
I
Maybe.
don't know. I didn't pay very close attention to the bowling game, to be honest. And my one thing is like, why didn't Piper get a bowling date and the women group date was the carnival? I don't know. I just felt...
There was one moment, I don't know why I noticed this, but it was right when they were getting ready to bowl, and Matt goes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to split you up into 2 teams. And the moment he said that, there was a very like noticeable and long expletive beep. As if he was like, I'm going to split you up into 2 teams. And one of the girls was just like, fuck! Like, I don't know why that would make her so mad that he was going to put him into 2 teams. But
Maybe
that, I don't know why that...
Maybe someone there had Tourette's and they just had to go with it. And so then they do this weird thing where, you know, the women who win the bowling game get the evening cocktail party portion of the date at first. And then they all talk about how great that is because there's only a few of them. And then the other women join and he's like, I invited them. And then it's like, why didn't you just take them all in the first place? I don't understand that whole situation other than just, again, to make the women resent each other and get pissed off.
I also like, though, when they say, like, I'm sending half of you home and you have to walk back. Like, I enjoy like a little abuse in that sense. Like, you guys won and the rest of you have to walk back in your bowling shirts.
Yeah.
So Michelle gets the group date rose, and I was happy to see that because I think that they seem like they're a really good match. So yay, Michelle. So Katie gets this one-on-one. Well, first off, before we see Katie get the one-on-one, we just see Tyler. Tyler is here. Tyler is from Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelor. He's a beloved contestant that everyone went crazy for. He was in the final 3, I think, or the final 4. He made it really close to the end. She ended up choosing Jed, who was the really bad country singer who sang in every single scene he was in and made dog food jingles and had a girlfriend, and she picked him. He had a girlfriend. She found out, and before the season was even over, they were broken up. And then she tried asking Tyler out at the final episode, and he was like, yeah, maybe. He had
moved on to like Gigi Hadid.
He ended up dating Gigi Hadid, and
this is a real question. When you apply to be a contestant on the show, it is generally assumed you are single, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I know. I know. It sounds like this is my first round. Because my brain was like, I assume a lot of people that have boyfriends or girlfriends, but for publicity, are like, yep. So like, does that happen a lot where people find out they have a girlfriend?
A lot.
Okay.
Especially now with Instagram and like, especially now. Yeah.
Got it.
And a few times the girls have like come in and will be like, I'm dating him. And so.
And if we're really lucky, we'll get there'll be some screenshots of some texts that are I'm just using The Bachelor for fame. Don't worry, baby. It's all good.
He has genuine feelings for me.
With a super cut of like him tongue deep.
I pretended to be vulnerable. So Tyler C is here, and they bro out and play pool and talk about stuff. Not a very exciting scene, but that's Tyler C's entrance, and then we get Katie's one-on-one. And this is, I thought that was a pretty fun idea for a one-on-one, but oh my God, it's just so strange to be. They had Tyler getting a massage, and they had Katie and Matt in the ear of the masseuse, instructing the masseuse to do wacky things to Tyler, and 100% of the things they instructed the masseuse to do were nipple related, which I was kind of like, why? What? I was really uncomfortable with them just kind of molesting Tyler.
They had to have told, like, I feel like right? Tyler's like, you're on the property, anything can happen to you.
He seemed unsafe.
See,
Yeah.
I understand like whispering, being like, hey, can I do something else? Like something creepy like that. But like physically pinching and twisting nipples has to be approved. Consent.
See, I got the distinct impression it wasn't, which is why when the reveal happened and he flipped over, his reveal face was, he goes, ah. Which is the face of a man who has not been enjoying, like, well, that explains that. No, it's a good bit. And then like, no, I get it. It's like if after you're performing and one of your friends is like, it was very funny, but doesn't laugh. And you're like, well, I bombed. Like it reminded that he was like, no, I get it. Cute.
Yeah, I mean, the only part of that what I thought was funny was the phone call. I thought the phone call was kind of cute. It seemed pretty harmless, just having your talk about him right in front of him.
I thought it was really funny that Katie's in the booth saying like, I didn't even tell her to say that. And then she's, the improvisers, got her tiny little moment.
It should have been
I did like the, thank you. I know, right? I felt there were a lot of bits I could have done there and I would not have squeezed the nipples, or would I have? But when they're leaving the massage and they don't even say like she was an improviser, or they don't even like point at her at all, and she's just in the corner like alone being like,
that's true.
It made me sad for her, and it made me sad for improvisers everywhere because
she had a quarantine for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
girl,
I'm jealous though. I want that
she
job.
probably got day rate.
Yeah,
Poor thing.
she probably got some per diem.
There was
some meals.
There was for sure a time where she tried to go to craft services and they were like, that's for the other people. And she had to go. All right, had to go.
That's for the talent.
Yeah.
But I am the talent.
You know what I mean. Get out. Come on.
No, you are not.
But this is one of the worst Bachelor things that you can do is tell someone that they need to be patient week after week. They're waiting for their one-on-one. You're telling them every time you see them that, reassuring them, saying that you connect with them. And then they finally have their one-on-one 6 weeks in. And then you tell them, I'm sorry, I'm just further along with the other relationships. I thought that was so shitty. Not a great way to do it.
Agreed. But also it needed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it with them, but I just hated that he said that to her.
Yeah.
And
that he grabs the rose. He grabs the rose
Yes,
and like
that's
dunks
a dick.
it right in front of her.
He literally dangles it in front of her face.
and then is like, well.
And that was, in my eyes, that was genuinely the most fun I've seen him have with the person. They're like laughing and holding. Like, it would be completely fair in her mind for the first time to be like, slam dunk. And he was just like he literally was like, get the fuck out. And then she was like, whoa, shit. Like, he's just like, that was a riot.
Yeah.
No, though. And then
I agreed. Like, I felt the same way, and I felt that way watching that until I realized that wasn't her bringing that out of him. It was Tyler. Like, he was stoked to have Tyler there, no doubt. He was just really happy to have his bro that he could like hang and like.
And now that I look back on it, I forget which one of you said it earlier, but I didn't see it at the time. But yeah, trash talking somebody who said that it puts you in the friend zone.
I did, yeah.
That now that I look at that, like at the time, I was like, oh, what a connection there. Maybe he had such a good time with his buddy. Like his two buddies, he was like, man, what an absolute riot. And she's like, do you want to get married? And he's like, oh, easy.
Yeah.
Like, you're my dude. You're my dude now. I appreciate you bringing up all the toxicity, but you're my bro now.
Yeah.
Right.
And the darkest moment for me is when Katie was explaining after he let her down, when she was like, and then you picture your life together. I pictured football games with Tyler and me and Matt and then my friends. And I was like, oh, girl, you're doing what we all do when we want something really bad. And you're like, I'm picturing myself there. And, that one just stabbed me in the heart. I will say, as much as she came onto the show with the dildo, right?
Yes.
But she didn't have, to me, a lot of sexual energy or like passion. There was I never felt between her and Matt, she did run up to him like everybody does and jump on him and wrap her legs around him. Like that's the greeting that you do on The Bachelor.
Jump, yeah.
Yes, the toddler jump and the swing around.
Yeah.
But to me, there was no passion. There was no I want to watch them have sex.
They didn't have chemistry. Yeah.
She had that broy teenager, like you can tell someone's not had sex because she's like, for me, I just love sex. We were like, you're saying a lot, but not like the orgasms, the penis, all of it. I love, just can't get enough. But then
I just rewatched 40-Year-Old Virgin, and intros to that first scene when they're asking Steve Carell all of his sex stories. He's like, I just like to do it hard.
Breasts like a bag of sand.
I feel like I see so much of myself in Katie because I'm a little bit of, in a group of people, I tend to be more of the mom, and I want to make sure that everyone's taken care of. And, it never occurred to me whether that's attractive or not attractive, but I guess I don't really care because I'm just like, well, I don't like seeing people be treated badly. So if no one else is going to do something about this, I will. And someday I'll find someone who finds it attractive. You know what I mean?
I mean, what if no one said anything? Like, what if no one said anything at all?
Yeah,
and just let Victoria and Smiley run their mouths?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I still call her that. Right?
Yeah, I like someone calls her Fire Marshal Anna, and I think that's perfect.
It's also very possible that they have, it's funny because you asked that question, what if nobody had said anything? And if nobody said anything, I feel like for sure a producer would have gotten in someone's ear and be like, yo, you should say something. You need to get in his, you need to go and so that's possible that was happening anyway. I don't think that they would let not drama happen.
That's true. But the drama, I don't know. Yeah, it seemed like Katie was trying to end the drama. Do you think that Katie trying to end the drama inherently adds to it?
Big time.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it did, according to Serena C. She was all bent out of shape about it. She was like, you should have just kept your mouth shut. We could have just handled our own fights. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm all like, what's the deal? What is the problem? Seriously. Katie was all like, why are you in my face about this? If you have a problem with me, why don't you talk to Matt?
Thank you for the feedback.
I'm sorry. I really liked that exchange between them because it just really showed to me how mature Katie is at certain instances. Yeah. And maybe she shouldn't have poked her nose in certain businesses and whatnot. Sure, fine. But she did, trying to just do the best thing. But also in the end, I just hope that she hooks up with a sounder.
Yeah, I hope she just soars like an eagle.
And I think she will.
Yeah.
Well, you guys talked about them going to the hotels and being able to come back. Yeah. I hope she shows up in a couple episodes talking crazy trash.
Well,
a full 180. I want her to kick in the door. Whatever we thought we liked about Victoria, I want Katie to come back in just full what's up, hoes? Just a big time.
Full heel turn.
I've never looked forward to a Women Tell All episode more than I do this season. That is just where all the women who are eliminated come back and they yell at each other, and it's so fun. This year's going to be so good.
And they also yell at Matt. They really get in there and yell at everybody.
Right.
It's just,
they don't have to impress them anymore.
No.
Yeah, it's just fun. No. It's just fun for the whole family. Okay, and to finish up this episode, we get to the moment where everybody's at the house, and this is where Heather emerges and shows herself to the women as Matt is talking to Piper. Or was it Piper that he interrupted? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, he had the one-on-one with Piper, but Piper's moment gets interrupted by Heather walking in, and it's just like, who the fuck is that? And the women are pissed. And, this is a few weeks after they brought in 5 new women, and they had to go through all that. And now it's this blonde chick who some of the women seem to know who she was. So
who's in a bridal gown.
Yeah,
she's fully looks like a bride.
All in
she
white.
is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Very thin, and she is competition.
Yes, she is competition.
So I feel like they're setting her up originally to be the new villain. Like the villains leave, we have the new villain, which may be Serena C or this new Heather. But from the previews, it looks like that is swapped, that those girls are going for the jugular of this new bride.
Yeah, and I honestly don't see her lasting another episode after next week because, first of all, we never see her in any upcoming scenes other than this fight that we're about to see next week. So I kind of feel like the decision's going to be from Matt, hey, this is probably not a good time. Why don't you go home?
And I watched like a hawk for any like blonde hair coming out of the sides of those upcoming scenes to if she was like maybe there and they just were hiding it. But I saw nothing.
I do think that Heather offers probably our best opportunity to get your mutiny that you're looking for, Rachel. Which
I really want one because, like, didn't one of the ladies was all like, "If she gets a rose, I'm
gonna be so mad." Yeah,
be so mad. Want it. I'm all like, "What are you really gonna do?" Like, imagine the power. Imagine the power that they would have if they like really like were like, you know what? We're going to organize and fucking raid this bullshit. Yeah.
I think of that a lot in the Bachelor season. Not quite so much this season, because I do think Matt is like, I think Matt's like a legit Bachelor, but there's been a few in the past, like, I'm trying to remember, I think like Ari. I remember Ari Cian and Pilot Pete, where I'm looking at this show and I'm like, every one of these women is so far out of this dude's league that I can't. I'm having a hard time buying this. None of these women would give this dude the time of day at a bar. I guarantee it. And now they're just like killing each other for him. So I know exactly what you mean.
I really like that their threat is the exact same thing as their punishment, where they're like, if I don't get a rose, I'll leave. I'll leave tonight. And you're like,
it's a good threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're leaving on by their choice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If I don't get a rose tonight, I'm never falling in love.
Yeah.
But the same women that say like that are pissed like that are the same women that go, excuse me, and go through like, pardon me, sorry, I have to go get my rose. So it's, I've never been in front of one of the Bachelor roses. I don't know what they would do to you. Like, is it like a diamond? Like, is it something that holds so much more importance now? So maybe you would go crazy.
I hope we all envision the same storming out, which is them. Like, what would be not a good situation for it? Like, they're going swimming, like it's poolside, and he comes out in the turtleneck, and someone's just like, I can't. That's not what you would wear. I can't. You're very attractive. I have to go.
One too many turts.
It's 110. I'm so sorry, baby. Excuse me. And then,
and as he walks away, he still has like an inflatable flamingo around his waist.
Yeah, from the hot tub exit would be really beautiful, I
as the
think.
water soaks up his turtleneck. I just can't. I'm so sorry. Please don't kiss me. I love you. I gotta go.
Well, that gets us to the end of the episode, basically. Did anyone else have any thoughts from this episode that they didn't mention from the scenes that we recapped?
Oh, Bree and I keep on forgetting her name, but she's a school teacher.
Michelle.
Oh, their exchange. It seems like they have like a good, like a nice cordial thing between each other.
Yeah.
And I really like watching them.
Yeah.
And I'm really drawn to that. And both of these women seem to be very solid.
Yeah, I agree.
Women.
Yeah, I'm happy they found a friendship because I agree about both of those women. I think they seem just really really chill and really intelligent and just cool ladies.
I know. So I'm shipping them right now. I hope they just go ahead, run off with each other.
Yeah, I wanted Maggie and Abigail to run off because their friendship was so adorable, and I was so sad that Abigail lost her friend when she got voted off. They're so cute. Anyone else have any other thoughts?
I mean, I guess. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm excited to see a little bit more of Kit. I don't think that she is going to win by any means, but she is always in a state of I'm on the side of a fashion show.
Is she the one that has
absolutely everything?
Is she the one that has the Queen's Gambit eyes?
Yes.
Yes,
Got it.
absolutely. She's Queen's Gambit eyes. She is strong brow and judging.
I pointed out last week that I think she looks like makeup influencer James Charles with a blonde wig on.
She does.
She absolutely does.
Yeah.
My final takeaway would be, I mean, as someone, like I said, who loves trashier reality TV and loves big villains and things, my ultimate goal, and I know it's a long shot, is that one day I wake up from a text from Snax that's like, dude, Matt left with Temecula Road. He picked none of the women. He picked Temecula Road, and the four of them live together.
And in a polyamorous quad.
Yeah, exactly.
Traveling the country.
Kings and queens. Yeah, exactly.
Performing at casinos.
Sam, if you want, I'll send you that text just to give you that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you all so much for being on Buns and Roses. Is there anything that you guys want to plug or direct people to? I would love to share any projects or charities or anything that you want to direct people's attention to.
Yes. I just want to quickly plug Wanawari up in Seattle, Washington, an amazing art and cultural center, nonprofit that deserves everyone's attention. Also, they'll be publishing a little book that I will be in called Joy Has a Sound.
Yeah.
I have a short radio play in it called Paratonal. So when that comes out, please go to wanawari.org to get yours.
And Rachel, will you promise to send me that when it's out and I'll put it on the Free Snax feed?
Yes.
Okay, great. Anybody else?
Yes, I'm Scotesy on Instagram, and I love chatting with people. There's some video games I'm in that are coming out soon, and I'll let people know on Instagram. And then you can play them and murder me in them. So super fun.
My Instagram is Most Fun Sam. My own podcast will be out in a month or two. It's a time travel self-help podcast called Sad Boy Energy Club. And that is fun. Oh, and then my band Temecula Road is out. You can catch us anywhere. Just Google Temecula Road.
Yeah.
You won't see me I'm in it, but
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
He's the silent partner.
Yeah, go there and yell out for me. I'm there. I promise I'm there. Yeah, they'll pretend it's a bit we do. They'll pretend they're real mad, which is it's so funny.
Usually,
They're so funny.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on. This was so much fun. And to all you out there who are listening or watching, please make sure you subscribe and rate and review. And please leave comments and email me. I'm at freesnax@gmail.com. That's freesnax@gmail.com. And you can also find me at Freesnax on all social media. And that's it for now. So everyone, just keep your walls down. Be vulnerable and enjoy the journey. Bye.
Take me down to the rose ceremony, the fantasy suites, holy matrimony. Oh, won't you please?